If you watched episode 1, you already know the thesis. A hotel is a system that using a building, and the system gets installed in the 90 days before opening. Today we get specific. I'm going to walk you through the actual pre-opening timeline, week by week, walking backward from launch day. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly what should be happening 12 weeks before opening, 8 weeks before opening, 4 weeks, the week off. Most developers don't have this timeline. They have construction schedule and a marketing launch date and a gap between them filled with optimism. Let's replace the optimism with a sequence. Before I give you the timeline, let me tell you why most of pre-opening timeline fail. The first failure, they are built forward, not backward. The developer asks when the construction finish and start planning from there. The right question is the opposite. When do we want the first guest to walk in and then walk backwards from that date? The second failure, they treat pre-opening as a single phase. It's not. It's 4 overlapping phases, and each one has different ownership and different deliverable. The third failure, they sequence people before system, hiring a GM at week 12, the FOM at week 10, the housekeeping team at week 6, whether the system those people will use actually exists yet. Today I'm giving you a timeline that fixes all 3 failures. Pre-opening, it's not one phase, it's 4. Let me walk you through each one before we go week by week. Phase 1, strategic setup. This is the foundation phase. It covers weeks 12 through 9 before opening. The work here is invisible. It decisions, document and contract. Operating model finalized. Pre-opening budget approved. Key system vendor selected. This phase produces almost no physical output, which why most owners underestimate it and rush past it. Phase 2, system installation. Weeks 8 through 5. This is where the control architecture gets built. PMS configured, chart of accounts loaded, procurement system live, inventory baseline established, reporting templates created. By the ending of phase 2, your hotel exists operationally, even though no guests have arrived yet. Phase 3, team building. Week 5 through 2. This is when the people come in a specific sequence. Departments heads first, then supervisors, then line staff. Training is intensive, SOBs got tested, and the team begin working together in the actual space they will operate. Phase 4 is a soft launch. The final 2 weeks, stress testing, friends and family runs, system dry runs under simulated load. This is where you find every failure point before a paying guest sees it. 4 phases, 12 weeks, 1 opening day. Let's break it down. Strategic setup. This phase produces almost no physical output. That's why exactly it's the most skipped and the most consequential. Week 12, operating model defined. Not refined, defined. If you don't know whether you are running a full service restaurant or breakfast only, FMB by now, you have lost weeks of downstream's work. Signed off by ownership this week, everything downstreams references it. Week 11, pre-opening budget locked, pre-opening bureau, system implementation, training, soft opening cost, contingency. Most developers underestimate this number significantly. Full OPEX template covered in episode 4. Week 10, vendor selection, PMS, accounting software, procurement platform, FMB BOS, key suppliers, contract signed this week. Why so early? Implementation takes time. You don't want to configure your PMS in week 3. Week 9, org structure finalized, not boxes on a chart. Rule accountability mapped. Who owns occupancy? Who owns food costs? Who owns labor costs? Who owns guest satisfaction? By now you know exactly how many people in what sequence accountable for what. Notice what hasn't happened yet. You never hired a single line employee. You never ordered furniture or amenities. You haven't done a single marketing activity. That's intentional. The foundation gets laid first. System installation. Week 8. PMS implementation begin. Not install the software. Configure room types, rate codes, guest segments, reporting structure, accounting interface. Proper BMS implementation takes 4 to 6 weeks. Start now. Have a functioning system by training time. Week 7. Chart of accounts loaded. Your financial controller set up the financial language of your hotel. Get it wrong, you cannot read your performance for a year. Get it right, your first month end close happen cleanly. Week 6. Procurement system live. Approved vendor list locked. BO workflow tested. Approval limit set. Receiving protocols documented. By now, no one can spend money without it being captured. This separates a hotel from a project that bleeds cash. Week 5. Reporting templates built. Daily flash report, weekly variance report, monthly B&L format built before there's anything to report on. Because once operations start, you won't have time to design them. By the end of phase 2, you have an empty hotel that already knows how to run itself financially. That's the inversion most developers miss. Systems before people. Not people who then figure out system. Team building. Week 5. Department heads arrived. Not the line staffs. GM if not already in the place. FOM, executive housekeeper, F&B manager, chief engineer. They will hire and train everyone else. So they will arrive first. Learn the operating model and own the phase 2 system. Week 4. Supervisors and technical rules. Front office supervisor, housekeeping supervisor, sous chef, restaurant supervisor, maintenance technician. This layer translates strategy into operational reality and develops proprietary specific SOPs from the phase 2 template. Week 3. Line staff onboarding in waves. Front desk agents, room attendants, servers, cooks, maintenance. Intensive onboarding, hotel standards, systems, SOPs, hands-on in the actual operating space, not a classroom. Week 2. Cross-departmental drills. Morning briefing format practice. Front office and housekeeping rehearse the daily room status handoff. FMB runs service flow without guests. The team stops being a collection of hires and becomes a hotel. Notice the sequence. Department heads at week 5, supervisors at week 4, line staff at week 3. Why? Because if the GM arrive in the same week as the housekeeping team, the team is being managed by a GM who doesn't yet know the building or the system or the standards. Sequence protects quality. Soft launch. Week 2. Friends and family stays begin. They pay nothing, but they treat it as full guests. Every system gets exercise. Reservations, check-in, housekeeping, F&B, billing, and check-out. Every failure documented and corrected same day. Week 1. Stress testing. Deliberately simulate peak occupancy. Run full breakfast for a full hotel. Tests 3 simulations, check-ins. Force the system to break better this week than lunch week. Day 3 to 0. Final corrections, vendor confirmations, PR and marketing activations, lunch period staff briefing. Early guests should know they are booking a brand new hotel and the team should be ready to over-deliver. Opening day, first paying guests. Every system tested, every staff member onboarded, every SOP used in practice. Nothing about opening day should be a surprise. The previous 11 weeks were designed to remove surprise from the equation. The cost of compression. Every week you compress equals 3 months of recovery. Compress phase 1, strategic setup. Operating model decisions made while staff is already hired. Wrong skill makes rehire within 90 days of opening. Compress phase 2, system installation. PMS Goes live the week guests arrive. Reservation lost. Folios don't match. Month 1 close take 3 weeks instead of 3 days. Compress phase 3 team building. Line staff arrive before the SOPs they meant to follow. They invent their own. Inconsistency become the operating standards. Compress phase 4 soft launch. First paying guests become your stress test. Bad reviews stack before your reputation forms. Some never disappear. The timeline is not a suggestion. It's the cost of delay calculation in this, guys. What's coming in episode 3? Now that you have the timeline, the next question is, what's the first decision you have to make? What documents need to exist before vendors get selected, before staff get hired, before systems get configured? The answer is your operating model, and that's episode 3. I will show you how to define an operating model specific to your hotel. Not a generic chain manual, not a competitor copy, not a wish list. The decision logic that determined every downstream choice. Service standards, departmental scope, outsourcing decisions. If you don't get the operating model right, nothing else in this timeline matters. Ask one thing before you go. Pull out your current project schedule. Find the gap between construction handover and your planned opening date. 12 or more, you have time to install this properly. 8 to 12, compressed but recoverable. Less than 8, we need to talk before you open. Subscribe so you don't miss episode 3, defining your operating model before you hire anyone. See you there.